Hey everybody, it's Ronnie, and with me right now is I'm gonna screw this up. I know it. Yutaka Takeuchi.
Oh yeah,
Am I
Yutaka Takeuchi. Yes, you pronounce it
Takeuchi?
perfectly. Yes.
Oh, okay. Thank God. And we're here to talk about your new movie, Drive All Night, where you play the character Dave. So,
Mhm.
I guess my first question is, the typical question everyone's going to ask you. Tell us about the movie and Drive All Night and your character Dave.
Uh, oh, okay.
Give us a little bit
Okay.
of
It's
background on Dave here.
the movie is so-called an neo-noir film. It's a really surrealistic and dreamlike, mysterious story that has romance and thriller. And the movie is, I mean, the core story is simple, but when you see the movie, a lot of things that might give you a question that if it's really happening or not. So it's really surrealistic, which is pretty interesting. And about Dave, he's a lonely, reclusive swing shift taxi driver. And he one night he picks up a young woman named Cara, and then his night turns unexpected. No, his night takes an unexpected turn. And
Really
yeah,
does.
it gets more and more surrealistic and mysterious, and yeah, sometimes really you might you might not understand what's happening, but yeah, it's the closest movies that I can think of is like David Lynch's movies.
Okay. Yeah, I can see that. I can see that.
Mhm.
And definitely if you're it's I can see how, because if you're not paying attention, you can definitely get lost in what's going on in this film. So I'm wondering, what attracted you to this film? Like,
When the Peter sent me a script through my manager, it was in 2019. I think it was August. And I clearly remember that was like a few days after I started driving with Uber. Yeah, for real. I was interested in driving with Uber somehow, and then I started. And a few days later, this script came in, and I read it. And the character he wanted me to play is a taxi driver. So, you know, I took it as some universe is telling me that I should
little
do it.
kismet.
Yeah.
Wow,
So I took it, and I agreed, and I said, yeah, I would do it. And that's how we started.
interesting how that just all lined up at the same time.
Yeah, yeah.
So, as you mentioned, it's definitely a very psychedelic neo noir film. Um, when you did you understand it the first time you read the script?
That's a good question. No, I actually wrote down so many questions. If you ask Peter, he would definitely tell you like Yutaka asked me so many questions because I really did. I remember the first phone conversation I had with him when I first talked to him over the phone. It took maybe more than 2 hours because I had so many questions for him, and he had a really he had answers to all those questions. So I felt like, okay, he knows what he's doing at least. And then although I didn't quite understand what was going on in this on the paper sometimes, but yeah, so I was able to trust him.
So I'm curious, are there still parts of it maybe that you don't understand now that it's all finished and you've seen it and it's out there?
um you mean the movie? Yeah, but the one thing it hasn't changed, that hasn't changed since the I wouldn't say the first week, but as soon as I felt like, okay, this is what the story is, and which is like stepping into the unknown. I feel like Dave's character, or even all of us, I have that part in me as well. But Dave has his unconsciousness is probably telling him to go a direction A, but his consciousness, who probably suffered from some past experience, is stopping him from going that direction. So he's going the direction, he's heading for the direction B. But after the movie, well, after the story, he probably, now the direction A is the direction that I should go. So it's helping him to make up his mind to go to the direction that he really is meant to go. Yeah, it's the stepping into the unknown was the thing that I had all the time. This is like really, yeah, going for the direction that I maybe scared to go, but.
So that brings me to another question. Did you seeing as it's how it is a character that was stepping into the unknown for you,
Yeah.
did you have to work on a lot of character development for this project beforehand?
No, internally, no. Besides the driving with Uber, that was actually physically all I did, and then read the script and try to understand. Yeah, I really focused on the script. That's all I really did. And internally, it was not so hard for me to relate to the character.
Okay. All right. So was this film? When did you guys film this?
2019 in August. Yeah, in 2019.
Okay, so this was before COVID.
Before, yes.
Okay. All right. So you got a little lucky on that part.
Mhm.
Nice. Is it weird releasing a movie for you now that during COVID, where it's more doing this stuff online and not
It's actually
actually
the
speaking?
mixed feeling I have, because when the movie is screened at the film festival, you go and see the movie on a big screen with the live audience, and you can feel the vibe.
Mhm.
And that's definitely one of the biggest, the parts that I like. But with this virtual screening, virtual film festival, I can't feel that vibe. But at the same time, you don't have to be in a specific city to watch the movie. It can be watched anywhere in the world, which is great. And it's going to be the first time for me to experience that. So hoping it'll work out better. In a good way.
Hopefully. So one of the things I'm curious about, because you always see it differently done in different movies. There's a lot of driving with you and the other character, female character in the film. Sorry, I forgot her name.
Cara, the Lexi, Cara.
Yeah. Alexi, yeah. Was that so I'm curious about the movie magic on that. Were you actually driving during those scenes, or were you being pulled along by a cart, or was it actually all green screen?
No, they didn't use green screen, but they used the projector.
Okay.
So most of the driving scenes were filmed inside this gym, inside the room. So the taxi was placed, and screens, or white screens or something, was placed around the car, and they projected the night views, night scenes, on the screens. And so, but I got to drive for real a little bit with that taxi, the yellow cab.
Okay. I was curious because the movie's very well, in my opinion, very well edited and everything, and just it's very smooth and of good flow. So I was curious as to how that was done.
I'm glad to hear that. I'm really glad to hear that.
Yeah, I did enjoy it. I've actually watched it 2.5 times. I ran out of time yesterday before I do other stuff. So I'm curious, what's next for you after this? What do you have any other projects coming up we should know about?
Right now there are a couple of projects in development. One of them is actually I am developing. I am writing a screenplay based on the real person that I met last year. No, 2019 also, yeah. And this is a really exciting story, and I'm going to make it happen and being the lead in it. The other one is in development. I can't tell you anything yet, but as soon as it's publicly available, I'd like to announce it.
Nice.
Mhm.
So you've worked on a lot of different projects over the years. Like I believe, for instance, when I was first asked if I wanted to do an interview with you, I had you up on my laptop upstairs, and my
Mhm.
husband walked into the room and he goes, "I just saw that guy on Weeds." Because he was just rewatching it. I believe he played a police officer like on 2 episodes of Weeds or something like that.
What? So wait a second, the Weeds. I mean, I actually never seen it.
You have never seen the show?
No, I have never seen it.
Yeah, you've been on 2 episodes.
Oh, that's great. Oh, okay.
so so
Yeah, it's good
um
to hear that.
you've done that. You briefly appeared on the Defenders for Netflix and
Mhm.
stuff like that. Is there a favorite genre of film that you actually like working in, or do you just love working in all
Well,
of
in
it?
the past project, I enjoyed every single project that I worked on. But with the Defenders, for the first time, I did a little bit of action, which I really enjoyed. So in the future, I'd love to do the action crime thriller
Okay.
kind of movies. Yeah.
Like what type of action are you looking at? Just, explosive, blow everything
Well,
up,
that's
or
exciting as
just
well.
just
Any
straight on, you know, extreme choreographed fight scenes.
the maybe the only action that I like to avoid is to jump in a cold lake in winter kind of thing. But other than that, I would go for any kind of actions, explosions, gun shooting, and sword actions, and physical fist fights. Yeah.
Right on. Right on. Well, I want to thank you so much for speaking with me. I really do appreciate it.
Well,
And
thank you.
so
Thank you for having
everyone
me.
else knows, Drive All Night. It comes out on March 20th, which for us is tomorrow.
Mhm.
So, which you can find everywhere, and make sure that you check out Yutaka Takeuchi.
Yes. Yeah, please
And
watch the
all of his
movie.
other, yeah, definitely. Okay, again, thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Thank you very much for your time.